So Ohio State's going to be without Devin Brown for a couple of weeks. Ryan Day confirmed that again today, Tuesday, at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center in his pre-Wisconsin press conference. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com, along with Stephen Means and Andrew Gillis. And Andrew, I'm going to start with you because last week when we were talking a lot about the Devin Brown goal line package, you were the most dismissive of it, saying that this isn't something Ohio State even needs. And it almost worked again. Like, he was like a fraction of an inch away from a touchdown. They reviewed it, said he didn't get in. Do you think because of Ohio State's red zone struggles this season, and they're not converting enough of those possessions into touchdowns, with Devin Brown out for a few weeks, do they need to look elsewhere on the roster, whether that's Lincoln Keenholz, whether that's somebody who isn't even a quarterback, to try to come up with some creative answer to get that offense going in the red zone?
It shouldn't be a quarterback. I'd be open to a Xavier Johnson package. I'd be open to running the Wildcat, basically. With Devin Brown in the game, it wasn't so much a Wildcat offense, right? Like, it wasn't, hey, look, this team is just going to run the ball and Devin Brown can't throw it and whatever. Devin Brown is the backup quarterback for this team, but I think that's important to note as well. This was not like a gadget formation that they put in there and it was just, hey, we're just going to have 22-man shoving contest and Devin Brown's going to get to the end zone. Like, this is the backup quarterback that you lost, so I'm not putting another quarterback out on the field to potentially risk another injury, because then all of a sudden, what happens if you put out Keenholz and he twists an ankle against Wisconsin, and then you're going into Rutgers and you have one quarterback and then gap. I know you have Jebbia too, but you've got McCord, and then you lose your depth on the quarterback depth chart. So I'm not doing that. I'm looking at more creative options. Maybe you have a running back. I mean, it sounds like you're gonna have your full assortment of running backs back there. Maybe do you just have one of them take the snap and just kind of run like a true Wildcat? I don't know. There are different things that I would do that involve not putting a quarterback back there, because I understand you want to have the ability to run and pass in those situations, but you've lost a backup quarterback here. I wouldn't risk anything else.
Steven, there are some other guys in this program who have quarterback experience, or as he's bringing up, sort of Wildcat-ish experience. Does Ohio State need to go down that route for at least a few weeks while Devin Brown is out, because they need some kind of spark there in the red zone?
So I asked that question, and I didn't want to say Cameron Martinez's name, but he's got quarterback experience, and that type of quarterback experience where he was more of a runner than he was a thrower. So maybe, he's not playing nickel for you, so maybe you can use him in this situation. And they've showed us with Caden Curry that they have no problem putting defensive players on offense. I said the name Xavier Johnson because he is the epitome of, hey, we have a problem, and Xavier Johnson just fixes that problem for him no matter where it is, so maybe him. Lincoln Keenholz, from a skill set talent standpoint from the quarterback room, makes the most sense. I even asked that. I asked about non-quarterbacks, and Ryan Day basically broke down the reason why he wants it to be a quarterback, because it's not a gimmick. He doesn't want it to be Wildcat. He wants you to be able to do throw and run, which there are throws in that package for Devin Brown. We saw it against Purdue. He just didn't convert on that throw to G. Scott. So it would be a quarterback if they did it. Lincoln Keenholz is the most athletic quarterback in the room, but he's also a true freshman who has been here since June and has not taken a snap yet. So I just think the Devin Brown red zone package is just put on hold, because you're not going to put a true freshman in that position. Tristan Jebbia doesn't have that type of skill set, and they got asked about the stuff that just happened with happened with Devin Brown. Is that why you don't want your starting quarterback doing it? So that's why Kyle McCord's not going to do it. So I think the answer to the red zone issues is they got to figure out how to do it in the more traditional way, or just not take Marvin Harrison Jr. off the field in red zone situations.
Yeah, I hate the Wildcat just more than life itself. I've always said, like, if I was a head coach interviewing offensive coordinators, I would ask them, like, the first question would just be, like, how many Wildcat plays do you have? And when they said any number more than 0, I would just, that's okay, thanks for coming in. Like, I think it's just a terrible idea. And I think that the Devin Brown thing made sense to me because he was a true quarterback. And yes, he had, more running skills in some ways than Kyle McCord did, and that's why it made sense to, change it up. And especially because we are asking a defense to now, I guess, pay attention to this wrinkle, your opposing defense. I agree with Steven here. I think that you probably just shelve this for a couple of weeks, because I think the Devin Brown thing, I can get to where that makes sense. What you have now, the schedule kind of gives you a little bit of a gift here. They play Wisconsin this week. We'll talk on Buckeye Talk over the course of the week why I think Ohio State shouldn't look at this as like a fool-around week. I mean, you're playing a good coach. You're playing on the road in a tough place, a team that probably this is their chance, the biggest chance they'll have all season to prove something. Like, this is a tough week potentially that they're about to undertake. Then you've got 3 games Rutgers, Michigan State, Minnesota, against teams that you do not think are going to score at your level. It gives you some time to really work on the conventional red zone stuff and figure out a way to make that work, whether that's like just tweaking the play calling, whether that's bringing this offensive line along, whether that's getting it through to these running backs, which holes they have to hit. Like, a lot of different things can go into that. I think the schedule gives you that gift while you're bringing Devin Brown back, and then maybe he's healthy enough that when you get up to Ann Arbor on November 25th, that is an option for you again, or beyond that. I just think it would be a mistake for them to get a little bit too cutesy here. Because I understand why they did this in the first place, but I also agree with Ryan Day. At some point, you're Ohio State. When you're on the red zone, you should be able to get a yard sometimes, like ever. Like it's the number of times that they get that yard or 2 yards is really screwed up, and they've got to find a way to flip that ratio in, I think, a more conventional way. But we will debate this more on Buckeye Talk. Get that wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315 when we get updates in future weeks on Devin Brown's availability, on other things that are going on with the team. That's where we send it first from cleveland.com.